What's up, guys? My name's Tony Cat, and I live at the Awesome Shit store in downtown LA. Welcome. So if any of you guys have any wise ideas to come in here and do anything crazy, that's our store security guard, Tony Cat. So he'll maul you. Don't get any crazy ideas. So for those of you guys who don't know, my name's Alfredo. I'm here at the Awesome Shit store in downtown LA. And we have a BMX brand called the Come Up.com as well as AwesomeShit.com. And right now there's a huge convention in Las Vegas called Interbike. And the majority of our store employees are there because they're either covering the event, working for a different BMX brand that they're sponsored by, or some of our riders are actually turning pro for some of the other companies that are part of the convention. So that means that good old Alf is stuck here at the store, manning Tony and all of the sales and customers. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. So as you may or may not know, I read the majority of the comments on my YouTube and I try and respond to as many people as I can. It's pretty time intensive, but hey, I'm down for you guys because you guys are down for me, right? But a lot of the comments have been asking me about my tattoos. So today, since I'm gonna be at the store and I can't really go outside and ride bikes and do any of my normal vlogs, what I'm gonna do is kind of go over my tattoos, where I got them done, and what they really mean. So let's take a closer look at these things, yeah? So apparently this cool Christmas tree shaped mirror that we have here at the store isn't the best for camera to show you guys my tattoos or what I'm wearing. But you know, I'm just gonna do the old selfie angle and let you guys take a closer look at my ink. How to go hands-free on you guys. So where to begin? For starters, my brother and Adam22 are some of the bigger influences on me and tattoos. As you see my business partner, he's got neck tattoos, hand tattoos, face tattoo, he's got it everywhere. And obviously I knew my brother before I knew Adam, and he had quite a bit of tattoos himself. He started off with a huge chest piece, and he has like a huge back piece, his arms, like his neck, like tattoos everywhere. I started at 21. I kind of was already on my way out of college, and I kind of already had an idea that I probably wasn't gonna work a traditional corporate job. So I wanted to get some tattoos, but at the same time, I always knew that I would be involved in some sort of business. So I always wanted to keep them at a level where I could kind of cover them up when need be. So if I go to like some sort of wedding, or if I'm in an office for whatever reason, then I can just wear a long sleeve shirt and you won't even be able to see the majority of my tattoos. So I guess I could start off with my first tattoo, and it's this LA sign, which is right here. And this actually happened when I was 21 years old. We were in Hollywood, my brother and I went out for some drinks, and we had always talked about getting tattoos, and you know, like I said, my brother was already pretty blasted, and he got a huge Los Angeles piece underneath his stomach. And I decided, well, my brother has that huge one, I'll get a little guy. So I got this LA outline. It's actually the LA Ink logo. I, at the time, didn't really know too much about the show, but I knew that the logo looked familiar, and I was like, you know what, it'll look cool. Big thing about tattoos, guys. Make sure you know where you get them. Make sure you like do a little bit of research, and you know, you want a reputable artist. You don't want some schmo, really. Well, I went to a regular just tattoo shop that was on Hollywood Boulevard, and he really tattered this up. There was like a lot of pieces that were coming out and stuff like that. So years later, when I got my artist that's done all this work, he actually had to go over the whole tattoo and basically did it all over for me and hooked it up, because now it looks pretty good. But back in the day, man, it had holes everywhere and stuff like that. Tattooing is very important on the line work. If you don't have solid lines, then the ink will actually just kind of like blot out of the lines, and some of it will just literally kind of pop out of your skin. So make sure you do your research on the artist beforehand. Very important. So you might have heard people say that tattoos are really addictive. Well, it's true. Once you get your first piece, you want to get more and more and more, and that's what happened to me. So after my first LA piece, I decided I wanted to get something bigger. I wanted to start working on a sleeve, and I wanted a lot more detail in it. So I decided to do a little more research, started asking people if they knew any good artists, and my brother actually recommended me his artist by the name of Steven Seacos out of Hollywood, California. So I met up with him and told him my ideas, and he drew something up really awesome. But his form of art is more Sailor Jerry, Ed Hardy, which are traditional artists. Yeah, before the clothing company, Ed Hardy was actually a really prominent tattoo artist, and he still really is, but you just kind of like associate his tattoo work now with his clothing company, and it's completely different. So I wanted something that was more surreal. And luckily, one of my BMX friends, Rob Hellerud, actually got, I think he got a shin piece done, and this guy's name was Kurt Vanderjack, and I think it's been about 8 years now, and to this day, he's still my tattoo artist, so he's done about 85% of the tattoos that I have. So I'm super hyped. I met him. He's a super awesome guy. At the time, he was working in Culver City. I drove up there, and from the first tattoo experience, all I did was look at a catalog of other tattoos, picked one I liked, and it was on my arm within like 20 minutes. This was a lot different. This was like a big in-depth piece, so I had to do some research, come up with like photos and stuff like that. And when I first met Kurt, I didn't know exactly how this was gonna go down. I wasn't sure if he was just gonna tell me like, hey, you know, these are the pieces I can draw, hope you like them. And it totally wasn't like that. It was like we sat down for a long time, did research, found the art that we liked, and then, you know, he actually took measurements. For those of you guys that don't know, when you get a sleeve, it's actually a lot more area than you think, you know, because of the shape of your arm, you know, the tattoo is gonna wrap around. So when he actually put a piece of paper on me and drew up the measurements and then extended it, it was huge. So there was a lot of detail that had to be put into place. And so we did all the research and came up with this awesome piece. All right, so an important thing to think about if you're interested in getting any kind of tattoo work, if you're gonna be working on a sleeve, you want a cohesive unit. So you want something that flows together and kind of has like a story. So Kurt and I decided that, you know, I really like Greek mythology and I really like battle scenes and stuff like that. So, you know, when I decided on this piece, that was the reference that we had in mind. So when we started, we kind of had to make sure that all the pieces kind of meshed together and made sense. So as you can see here, it starts off with Zeus, and he's kind of like throwing a lightning rod into the Colosseum. So I really like Greek mythology, and I'm Italian, so I wanted something that represents Italy. So I thought, what cooler way than to have the Colosseum actually being destroyed by a god, you know, or Zeus. With some clouds, some leaves, and it flows down into the Colosseum. So we got the mast, and then down into this octopus that's basically destroying all these Greek battleships. And then we got another Greek battleship here on my elbow. And then down on my lower forearm, closer to my wrist, you can see the octopus's face, and he's kind of coming out of the water. And then on the back side is more octopus, a little bit more battleship. And like I said, this awesome piece on my elbow that really hurt. It's another Greek battleship with a lot of awesome oars coming out of it. And yeah, the rest of the tentacles and suction cups on the little octopus. I should mention that my left sleeve took about 8 months to finish. Every session, we try to space out between 2.5 weeks to about a month. And you know, this actually took about, I'm gonna say 10 sessions between the Zeus piece, then the Colosseum, all the detail went into that, all the shading, then on the inside of my arm, elbow, my forearm, all that stuff. Every session was about 4 to 6 hours. It was about 10 sessions for just that arm. So after about 8 months, I was a little burned out, so I wanted to take a break. But then we went to Barcelona on an OSS trip, and our friend was doing tattoos there, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to get a tattoo from him. He's Argentinian, his name is Paranoid BMX, you can check him out on Instagram. And I decided to get this tattoo here. So I really like bicep tattoos. I think they look pretty cool. And initially they're pretty easy to hide. So if you're thinking about getting a first tattoo, I would recommend biceps. I know that Garrett Reynolds has like a anchor here. A lot of BMX pros seem to have a cool bicep tattoo. You know, so this one is basically the Bmw logo. I've always been a fan of European automobiles and, you know, BMWs in general. My first few cars were like an M3, a 325, a 318. So I wanted to get something that symbolized BMW, but at the same time, it actually says BMX. So, you know, had a little change up on that. And then the outside of it is a pretty cool little crest. At some point, I kind of want to get it redone. It's been losing a little bit of color. Anytime you have a placement where you're rubbing on clothes or anything like that, after time, like you kind of like start pulling some of the ink out. So, you know, I'm gonna need to get it touched up and probably get filled in a little better. All right, so once my left arm was completely sleeved, I took kind of like a 6 month to 8 month break and didn't get any tattoos for a while. And then in October of 2013, we opened the On Some Shit store here in downtown LA. Across the street from our shop is a tattoo shop. And I decided that it'd be cool for me to show like respect for the tattoo shop in the area, since we're gonna be working with each other, to get a tattoo from them. So a girl by the name of Soti that was working there did this tattoo piece on my chest. So let's see if you can see it pretty good. It's just a basic script that says, count your blessings. And this one is meaningful to me because I started working with Adam 22 back in 2011. And basically he needed an accountant for the Come Up. And I was in school learning about international business and accounting, and I thought, hey, I can help you out. You know, so it's pretty funny and ironic. I ended up counting my blessings because everything I have now, so to speak, is because of BMX, the Come Up, On Some Shit, and everything we do. So that's where that comes from. I know a lot of you guys ask me if it's like in reference to a BMTH band or something like that, but no. I just kind of like thought of this. I know it's like a pretty cliche statement, but you know, it's pretty cool to me. So the next piece after the Count Your Blessings is this cool shark. And basically the story behind this one is that Stevie Churchill got the same one on his arm, and he was nervous to get this tattoo. And like I said, there's a tattoo shop that's across the street from the OSS store. So Stevie was like, man, I've always wanted to get a tattoo. You know, I have a really tacky one on my ankle, but I want a really nice one. So would you go get one with me? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we crossed the street, and he got his in full color, as you can see here. And I actually got mine in black and white. As you can see, 100% of all the tattoos on my body are black, white, and gray. And the reason for that is that I'm pretty light skinned, so I think that, you know, dark tattoos look pretty cool on my skin. But colors seem to pop off too much, and I think they fade over time. So I kind of decided early on, I think I'm gonna stick to just like black and white tattoos for a long time. And at some point, I wanna get something where there's one little color that's a really good accent. But, you know, I still haven't decided where I'm gonna get that tattoo or when or anything like that. So for now, just black and white. And then after the shark, I decided I wanted to get another really cool piece like the one that's on my left arm. And basically what I wanted to do was, my right arm was going to be something that had to do with Catholicism. I grew up Catholic, and I really like the statues and all the art in the Roman Catholic Church. So I decided to go with that theme. So up here we got La Pieta, which this is a statue of the Virgin Mary. And it turned out really awesome. Like Kurt really placed it in a proper position on my arm where, you know, every detail on it kind of like goes well with my muscles and kind of like just like the shape of my arm. And literally I went right now to the liquor store to go grab something. And anytime I run across anybody, they kind of like stop me like, hey man, that art is really awesome. Where'd you get it? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm always like shouting out my tattoo artist. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of awesome detail. And this turned out, like I said, really awesome. The shading is amazing. And a funny fact is that Dalmatian thought filter that every girl uses, I can actually get one on my face, and I can get the like little twin Dalmatian on her. So it's pretty funny. So after I got this La Pieta piece, I moved down, and then the next piece was this Saint Jerome, which is done by Lorenzo Bernini, which is also an Italian sculptor and artist. And this piece is really awesome. It's basically a statue of Saint Jerome holding the cross. And as you can see, it's a Jesus piece of him on the cross. And then after that, I got this Sacred Heart. And a lot of people ask me what INRI means. And basically, in the story of the crucifixion of Jesus, so they basically placed this plate with the letters INRI above his head after he was dead that said that he was the king of the Jews, just in sarcasm, I guess, or anything like that. That goes with the story. So I thought that was a really cool piece, and I wanted that, you know, kind of like another cliche of I wear my heart on my sleeve kind of thing. I think this piece really turned out awesome. Like, as you can see, there's a lot of detail that went into this. There's a lot of white ink that went into it, and a lot of shading that gives it that cool, like almost 3D effect. And fun fact, I did the majority of these tattoos during Muse Inc., which is a convention in Orange County. And basically, Kurt and I sat at this convention for 13 hours to get this whole piece done. And it started here in my elbow. I'll show you that piece next, but this whole piece was 2 days, and the first day I did about 12 to 13 hours. The second day I only did about 8 hours, but it turned out really awesome. And then after that, we got to see Blink-182 and Yellow Wolf, which is a good friend of my friend Mark and Brian Villancourt. Shout out to the Evil Twins. I'll probably put a little picture of them because they're heavily tattooed dudes. And yeah, so they're friends with Mark, Brian, and my friend and artist Kurt Vanderjack. So like I said, after we finished his sleeve up, we got to go see Blink-182 and Yellow Wolf. So that was pretty awesome, even though I was in a world of pain. And then one of the last pieces to complete my sleeve, which is not all the way done yet. As you can see, there's this area left. But the next piece was an awesome St. Michael's piece. I actually don't remember the artist's name off the top of my head, but as you can see, there's a lot of great detail that went into this piece, and it kind of has a cool effect where it twists. So this is supposed to be Lucifer that's being stabbed by St. Michael, which is like the right-hand angel to God. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, it wraps around here and it goes up my forearm and right underneath my elbow. So that piece, I did the second day of Muse Inc. And yeah, it was really painful, but really worth it. So as you can see, it's a pretty big piece and it has a lot of awesome detail. So I try and get as many angles as I can for that. This is the only time I kind of wish I had someone else filming, but hey. So like I said, this is the last piece I have left from my forearm. And at some point, Kurt and I are gonna sit down and finish up this. And now I wanna show you guys the last piece. This isn't gonna be PG-13 because I gotta take off my shirt. But yeah, so the last piece I've gotten done, Mancuso down my ribs. So that was probably the most painful tattoo I've gotten. It really hurt. Another important tip, when you're gonna get tattooed, make sure you eat something, make sure you don't drink the day before, and make sure you have sugar. The reason for all three is that when you drink alcohol, it thins your blood, so you bleed more while getting tattoos. Also, if you're hungover, you're already in pain, so why cause more pain by getting tattoos? Secondly, when you eat something, you have something in your stomach, so you don't get lightheaded or anything like that. And thirdly, when you're getting tattooed and you're in pain for hours on end, your sugar level goes down. So if you bring Skittles or some soda or any other sweet treats, that actually gets you feeling better. When you eat the sugar, it makes you a little happier, so the pain is less severe. That was probably the most painful. I would say ribs were the most painful, followed by my chest, and then my elbows. Both elbows, like this one isn't fully in the elbow, but this one is. And like I said, that really hurt. So, you know, keep that in mind when you want to get tattoos. A lot of people really ask me like, you know, what's it like? How much did it cost? What went into it and stuff like that. For starters, it all depends on the piece you want to get and your artist, where they're located or anything like that. Tattoo shops usually have a minimum, so in order for them to break out their kits, draw something up for you and, you know, waste some needles and ink, some shops start off at a $50 minimum, some of them are a $100 minimum, so no matter how long or how little, even if it's just one little tiny letter like an E, that's gonna be their shop minimum, so 50 bucks, 75 or 100. Then after that, it just basically goes on the popularity of the shop or the artist and how many people are before you and whatnot. So like my tattoo artist, Kurt, he's at a really very well-known shop called Ink Slingers. I'll link them right here. Again, you get what you pay for with a tattoo. So, you know, when you get someone that's like bragging about getting a sleeve for a couple $100, then the work usually reflects, you know, what they paid for it. I don't want to give away too much because I don't know what, you know, the rates are today or anything like that. You know, my artist is a really amazing artist. I've known him for 8 or 9 years, so I obviously get a really good price from him. He's always taking care of me, and that's why I'm always giving him shout outs and, you know, referring him to a million people. But I'm over 5 digits into my tattoos, so, you know, you guys can do the math. But again, you get what you pay for. And if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to see anything else, like always, just leave me some comments. I'll make sure to kind of like get back to you guys in the comments or in the following video. And I wanted to take a special note to include the flyer for our event that's happening this Friday. So today's Wednesday, so we got 2 days left before Vegas. I actually leave tomorrow, and that's gonna be awesome because I'm gonna be able to do Tech Thursday at the Interbike floor. So I'm gonna be checking out new bike products and stuff like that. But yeah, so I wanna include the flyer for Friday right here. It's gonna be an awesome jam, so anybody that's in Vegas, anybody that's in town, or anybody that's kind of near, get out there. It's gonna be this Friday. OSS, the Come Up, the Common Crew, Brandon Began, Connor Keating, Nate Richter, myself, Adam22. A lot of people are gonna be there, so make sure you guys come out. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for always submitting questions, for liking the videos, for sharing, and most importantly, thanks for subscribing, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. Peace out.